I,
And
I, I
we are live.
greetings in the name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I the First, Jah Rastafari.
Mustafa.
Thank you, every one of you who are watching this interview. We're excited. We're ecstatic to bring another guest on to the stage. We have a very, very, very special, very important, very influential, and we're not talking about one who is an influencer. See me, I say. We talking about influential. See me, I say. Those that are transmuting light and um, there's an impact coming from within self and not for self, but for the others, for the I. So
Mhm.
we give thanks. We welcome Empress Paula Hurlock, and we're excited to, do something that's historic, something that's going to be remembered generations to come. You may not always understand when you throw a stone in a lake how the ripple is going to expand and influence everything, but trust and believe that just as I'm speaking, I testify to this being history. Give thanks. So, Empress Paula, how are you doing
Thank
today?
you.
Yes, welcome. I
Thank
wanted to
you.
pass
Thank
the
you.
mic to Josh because
Yeah.
Josh was the one who had the foresight and to find you and to ask you to come and was ecstatic as I am
Mhm.
to hear your response and to see that you are about the work of the community first and foremost. That was such a blessing to see. So, Brother Josh, I know you had some questions. If you can pull those out and do your thing. But
Yeah,
thank you. God bless.
of course. Thank you. Yes, yes. Greetings, Paula. So yes,
Great.
I'm very familiar with your content. I've actually watched your content, watched your videos, and seen your interviews with like I never TV and various things like that. So um, yeah, I guess first question that I just had, just to kind of like open up. I know you said you're from Jamaica
Yeah.
and you have your wellness experience. So kind of just um, how was it like growing up for you in Jamaica, and what got you into the your wellness journey and what you're doing now?
Right. Well, first of all, let me thank you both for having me today. That's number one. But number two, I have to commend you for taking this initiative overall. Outside of me, to bring the light forward and to create a platform specifically for the community to learn from, to grow from, to be empowered by. This is so important. So, congratulations for doing this. It is important. It is important. Thank you for listening to the voice of spirit, the voice of the ancestors, because you guys remember your mission, you remember your purpose. So, congrats for that. So, I'm here in Montego Bay, Jamaica. This is where I grew up at. This is my home. I grew up in Montego Bay. My dad is a musician, so of course, smoking does not bother me. My mom always laughs and she says, "Your hair is gray because from your board you are inhaling smoke." So,
Mm,
I went to school in Montego Bay, Jamaica. I went to a Roman Catholic school. In fact, as we speak, they're celebrating 100 years. Um, and I was educated at the University of the West Indies. So I grew up in Jamaica totally, not having too much uh, exposure to the outside. Like I traveled when I was in my late teens, but the way I speak is how middle class Jamaicans will speak. So that's why I don't sound like I'm talking patois. This is how we speak, right? I
Hmm.
can get into it, you know. But how did I get into this? Well, my father was Rastafarian for perhaps 10 or 12 years. So he had his locks, he smoked, he ate vegan, vegetarian, and did all of the things that Rastafarians do. But I think it was a phase in his life. So eventually, he cut off the locks, started eating meat again. But I don't think he ever left the place in his heart where he was Rastafarian, if you know what I mean. I think he probably changed back because, when he would go through the airport, he would be hassled, and he experienced the barriers that are sometimes set up by society when you stand up as a Rastafarian. And this would have been like 40 years ago. It's not like now where people are more accepting of your religious choices, your hairstyle, the clothes you wear, you know? So I understand why he would have changed back from being a Rasta. Uh, People always ask me, why are you not Rasta? And I say, you know what? I'm 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 neutral, but leaning more towards the Rastafarian way of life and way of thinking. I don't like dogma in any form. Any kind of religious dogma makes me, I don't want to use the word terrified, makes me wary of how much of it is being influenced by a man and his opinions on how things should be. So that is my reason for being neutral. How did I get into wellness? I've always been wellness oriented. I was vegetarian most of my life. Um, I just did not like meat from the get go. Like as a baby, as a child, I disliked meat. I do not eat red meat. Yeah, I grew up in Jamaica, so we had a lot of chicken, so I eat chicken, right? But there were many, many years. I would say if I'm 54 now, I've probably spent 40 years of my life being fully vegetarian. Fully. Yeah.
Wow.
So now I'm flexitarian. Mostly vegetarian, but I have a little fish and I have a little chicken occasionally. My friends laugh and tell me, Paula, we don't know what you are. I said I'm a wannabe vegetarian, backsliding vegetarian. That's how I call myself. But I understand the value of being vegetarian and I understand the value of detoxing the body and the value of herbs. And that is why I got into wellness. Got into wellness out of a need. I created Wellness Experience Jamaica when the pandemic hit. And I saw how disempowered our population became because of this thing. And I'm like, wait, hold on a minute. Don't we know what to do when we do not feel well? Our grandmothers taught us what to do. How are we now not giving credence to that traditional wisdom? How are we now leaving our health in the hands of perhaps some of the most unhealthy people on the planet? How are we doing this? So,
Mm.
my reason for creating Wellness Experience Jamaica was to remind us what our forefathers did before we were colonized. So, that's it.
You see, and that's a fire segue because consider the concept of one nation never being colonized. In my opinion, the earth always has to have an example, a righteous example, and a wicked example for justice to
Exactly.
be served by Almighty.
Yeah.
So we have a righteous example of what it looks like for a nation to maintain its integrity and defend itself against all enemies, and that nation uh, now serves as a beacon of hope for humanity. And I think that's a great segue to some of the medicine and natural herb and natural healing, spiritual, physical, mental, and retreats. I'm so interested in hearing about your retreats and how they impact people's lives and how they've impacted your life. So if you
Right.
have any examples and ideas
Yes.
about this, I want to hear because
Yes. So I've always known that wellness retreats and health retreats and spiritual retreats were being held in Jamaica. I just never thought I needed to host one. But more and more, as certain videos were circulating, people kept asking, do you host retreats? Can you host retreats? And I'm like, no, but I can. And so that's basically what drove my beginning to do retreats. It was because of people's requests. And of course, I'm on social media, so I'm able to see what other people are doing as retreats. And I'm going to be very honest. Some of them look very superficial and so very mm, not as substantive as I would want.
you
I
mean as
wouldn't go to those
superficial?
retreats because yeah, they looked like, they were in circles, putting flowers in the middle and closing their eyes and yeah, not very authentic. And
Right,
so
right.
I realized that if I was going to do a retreat, it would have to be a retreat where people would be immersed in the vibration, the Jamaican vibration, because Jamaican vibration is not normal. It is very interesting. The nature. I thought it was important for people to be immersed in nature because we know that nature itself is a healing modality. So even just coming to Jamaica and we're just spending time out in nature under two breadfruit tree, under two pear tree, that is healing by itself.
Mm.
I feel as if our waters are special as well, both the fresh water and the sea water.
For
Uh,
true, this is true.
I've experienced both of them at different times of my life. I never went into river water until during the pandemic, believe it or not, even though I'm Jamaican. I would have gone
Mm.
to Duns River Falls, which is an attraction, but you don't really understand it when you're going as a kid.
Right.
As an adult, well, as a kid growing up, I went to the beach all the time and it's beautiful. It's fun. It's nice. As an adult and during the pandemic, when we were locked down, when I went to the beach, I had a whole entire different experience. And that's when it really hit me that these waters that are surrounding this island are also very powerful. The water is nourishing. It's filled with minerals, first of all. So the sound is a frequency. The water itself is filled with minerals that go into your through your skin and nourish you.
Mm.
The color of the water is nourishing. And just the waves, everything about it is nourishing. The river
Almost like
water is a
you.
whole different thing. The river water, you can feel how magnetic it is compared to the seawater. And after being in the river water for an hour or so, the energy that you get while you're in the river water, it stays with you for the entire week. I kid you not. I was shocked.
Hmm.
So I realized that I could combine all of those modalities and of course good authentic vegan food, vegetarian food, fruits, coconut water, and of course the herbs to create an experience that would sort of reset the central nervous system of the average person, especially a person who has lived in North America for a while and has
Hmm.
had to adjust their central nervous system to the Babylon system, right? Coming to
Hmm.
Jamaica and being taken care of in this way. And then what's mandatory at my retreats is that from your land, you get one cup of bitter tea because we start the detox the moment you land.
Hmm.
the bitter herbs, the bitter wood, the cerasee, the blue vervain, the lemongrass, the soursop leaf. As soon as you land, you get a blend of herbs that start to do a
Yeah,
cleanse
yeah.
on your body,
Mhm.
cleanse your blood, cleanse your liver, kill the parasites, and soothe your central nervous system. So my retreats are pretty much a reset and
That
a
sounds
moment for rejuvenation. I have a masseuse that comes in and completely clears your body of any trauma that you're holding in your body and just soften you up and just prepare you to receive the food, receive the vibration, and receive the energy when we do our meditations because we pretty much meditate and move together 2, 3 times a day so that by the fifth day you are so high spiritually from the good food, the herbs, the vibration of the island itself, immersion in the water, both the seawater and the river water. By the time you're finished, you're completely different. You're renewed in every way. So that's what my retreats are all about.
okay. Sounds like a natural version of ayahuasca. You know what I
Yes, yes, without
or at
any
least the outcome, yeah.
stimulant and we don't really sit down. I give an itinerary, but I say to them as soon as they come in, I said the itinerary was just given to you as a bomb because you are accustomed to the system where you have to see a schedule. And if you didn't see a schedule, you would think, what is this? But we're going to follow the schedule to some extent, but basically, we are going to be led by spirit. And whatever we feel to do in the moment, that's what we do. If when we sit down at the breakfast table and we start to eat, a reasoning comes on and it goes beyond the breakfast hours, we're continuing because that is what the collective needed to talk about in the moment. You understand what I'm saying? So we flow, but we're structured, but we still flow.
Okay.
Yes. I love that. Love that. And something I was gonna ask you too, because I know you,
Mhm.
like you mentioned in your retreats and stuff, you get into like the herbs. The I know you've talked about like the frequencies and vibrations and using those
Yes,
modalities of healing. So
yes.
for people who might not be familiar with that terminology or even familiar with just the aspects of energy and things like that, how would you
Mhm.
explain it to them and how your retreats would kind of help them be able to balance that and align with
Yes.
themselves and things like that?
So here's the thing. We people, the melanated ones, we have always been moved by sound, frequency, and vibration. We made the drums, and the drums are like our heartbeat. The earth has a sound. If you wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning and you listen, there is a sound. It's a hum. It is not perceptible if you're not listening, but if you start to listen deeply, you will hear a sound. It sounds like a deep bass hum. You can hear it, yeah?
Hmm.
That being
Our
brought up,
central nervous, our
yeah,
central nervous system is designed to hear sounds, and the sounds bring us into balance. So when you have an instrument like a stringed instrument and it plays and you strum it and you hear the vibration from it, it does
right,
something to your brain, it does something to your heart, it does something to every organ, it does something to every cell, right?
right,
So music is a healing modality all by itself, right?
yes,
Some of
yeah,
the classical music that they've studied in science and so on, they are showing you that some of Mozart's symphony, if you listen to it, From you're a baby, you create genius, right?
Right.
That
See.
is the Western thing. Nobody has studied what the drums do for us.
Right.
Nobody has studied what some of those ancient instruments do for us.
Mm,
But even if they don't study it, we know. We know how we feel when we go into a circle, Nanaya Bingi and the drummers start to drum. We know how we feel. And we know
mm,
how we feel when we leave that setting. We know how we feel when we hear some music and the voice of a certain singer. We know how we feel. It messes with our emotion in a beautiful way, most of them. So we know how we feel. Now, when you go into a structured setting and you play certain frequencies, like for example, the first time I heard a crystal bowl, it sent me into a space of complete, like it cleared all of my anxiety and my thoughts and so on. I was just blank. I was like, what? You know? So when we do our retreats, we have a combination of different sound healing sessions and modalities. So, for example, at every meditation, I'll play the crystal bowls to help clear everybody's minds so that they can go into meditation easier. Those frequencies also bring the right and the left hemisphere into coherence or synchronization because with how we're taught at school and with how we work and how life is, our left and right hemisphere go out of synchronization. And so we're lopsided in our way of operating. When you play these frequencies, it brings the two hemispheres into synchronization and it
mm,
allows for light to be able to come in through the crown and through the third eye and be held in the body more effortlessly, right?
mm.
Likewise, when we do the drumming, it synchronizes with our heartbeat
Right.
and it grounds us to
Okay.
be a little bit more rooted and grounded into the earth. So the high pitched frequencies work on the brain, the deep drums, the bass drums ground us, our lower chakras to be connected to Mother Earth a little better. Yeah. So that is
See.
why when you hear how they put together music, they put together drums, they put together strings, they put together the wind instruments, almost indicative of the elements fire,
Right.
earth, water, air, you know? And that's what helps to balance us and integrate us into nature. We hear it more, we feel it. And it actually does something to our chemistry as well. We are
Right.
happy when we hear music.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure. You get into, like you said, you open yourself and you feel, because it is a feeling of euphoria
Yes.
that
Yes.
sets in because you're
Yes.
in a high place. So what does that say about us metaphysically and what we're made of? I love that. I appreciate you sharing that. That's a remarkable perspective and also reality. And
Yes.
I'm thankful for that reality. I felt like I went on a journey while you were talking and
Yeah.
experienced my crown opening for light and the light manifesting through my eye and through my temple, and
Yes.
what that means for the keepers of the light in regard to fulfilling our divine calling, which is to be
Yes.
custodians of history. And
Yes.
those, for example, I'm gonna give you the importance of being a custodian of history for anybody listening. The concept of being a custodian of history means that you're a keeper of the light, right? It is the
Yes.
real symbols written on and transcribed on a paper that offers a portal for a person's thoughts to transmute into the etheric realm and physical realm, which is symbology, the symbols on the paper. It is a light, literally. You know what I'm saying? And when you open your third eye to that light, then the spirit that was in that man's head is transmuted from his head through the symbol into yours. And that divine illumination, you see me as I say, begins.
Yes.
I
Yes.
feel that is a magnificent contribution today, and I would love to hear that playback. I'm excited for that experience again. We got more questions for you. So we don't, because I could kick it with you and talk all night. I can feel the vibe is right, and there's a lot of learning to be had. And with that being said, I had some questions about your own perspectives on approaching health, and uh, that being a segue into a form of class that's able to be seen by the world. What I mean is like
Yeah.
you can put things together in DVD form sometimes, and you can put that out, and now everybody can experience that, light,
Yes.
that transmutation. And so, have you thought about doing those things? Do you have those things available now? And yeah,
No,
yeah.
you know what? I, as best as possible, I try not to follow necessarily the trends of what people are doing. I see the importance of documenting and being the keeper of certain wisdom, but I'm not going to just do a podcast um, to sell it or to get popular or anything. I work as needed. I give as needed. Yeah.
Mhm.
I see people shift when they become too commercial. They shift because no, they're not driven by their original desire to document for posterity. They now get driven by what's trending, what people want, what people want to see. Then they start to change their looks, they start to change their hair, they start to change their format. And I don't want to go down that road at all. So I have purposely kept myself very basic in terms of my approach because I've seen time and time again authentic people become inauthentic puppets of a system,
Right.
whether even wellness. People have turned wellness into a six-figure income potential, and they are willing to sell lab produced products
Uh, for a profit.
because they got a link and they can slap their label on it and they can make tons of dollars because they're an influencer and people will listen to them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I
I,
purposely kept my offerings very organic. They pop up when they need to. If people like you call me and say, "Can you speak?" I will speak because I know what you are trying to do in terms of documenting tradition and wisdom and wellness it, information, right?
see.
I get approached by lots of companies all the time when I do my background check. They don't take anything from the ground. They don't take anything from a tree. Everything is produced in the lab. Everything is synthetic. I'm not on that. I'm
Right,
not
right.
on that. I'm not about the money. I'm not about the chasing fame. I'm not about that. And we have to be careful to watch out for that as
Hmm.
persons who are pursuing wellness. If it's not
See.
from a tree, from an island, from an area where you know it's pristine, don't even bother. For example, when you get herbs online, some of it is from China. And we know the Chinese people can produce anything and make it look like it's real. So, as young people, I want to encourage you and all the people who are listening to be very careful about who you follow because guess what? There are lots of agents. When they see a bright spark, they'll say, aha, come here. Let's put some nice clothes on you, give you a big contract, and you promote this product for us, and we'll give you $1 million. And of course, a young person who is a bright spark is going to go down that road and not realize that it's a trap, not just for him, but for all the people who follow that person. You understand what I'm saying, guys?
Yes, yes. I
Yes.
think
Very
every,
relevant
I think
today.
yeah. Go ahead. Sorry. Forgive you. Yes.
Mhm. Oh, you were
Um,
saying? Go ahead,
no, I
Empress.
wanted to offer
Oh,
her opportunity to finish. I interjected and I apologize, but I definitely wanted her to finish what she was saying.
mhm.
Oh, I'm not hearing so well.
Okay. Okay.
Can
So,
you repeat?
yeah, yeah. What I was saying is when you were responding, I interjected, and I didn't mean to interject. So I wanted to make sure that you had the floor to finish what you were saying because it's
Okay,
important
no
for the
problem. No
conversation.
problem.
Yes. Mhm.
Mhm.
Did I answer all of the question or was there another part? Because I went off.
Now I think we can actually segue now into another question. I definitely have another question
Yes,
for you.
yes,
Um,
yes.
one, one of the things I'm liking the most about this interview is your style, right? Because it creates a good atmosphere for me through the interview, seeing the culture and your style, and I think that that's something that you guys, that our community has so many amazing styles
Oh,
that are
yes,
here now that are going to represent something for a long time culturally. And
yes.
I'm just curious, like, what inspired some of your style and how you communicate as well? Because I think style is one, but your communication skills are excellent. Could it have been your background that developed those, or is it
You
in your
know,
family?
I think it might be like a family thing. This is how, like one can really not take credit for anything that they're doing. Everything that we do and how we operate and how we communicate, how we dress, how we present ourselves to the world is a byproduct of the environment and the people that raised you. My family, both sides of my family are very good communicators. Both sides of my family are very conscious people. So they understand that they don't have to chase anything or try to be like anyone else. I don't have any family members who are trying to emulate anything or anyone. They like something, they choose it, you know, not because it's trendy, not because it's stylish, but because it looks good on them, including how we wear our hair. I mean, some members of my family choose to color their hair when it starts to gray. I gave up because I couldn't color this anymore. I, the gray hair one, you know. How I've chosen to wear my hair over the years is really just a matter of convenience. I've worn my hair with locks before. I used to process my hair back in the day, and I stopped processing once I understood the ramifications, the health and wellness ramifications of processing the hair. And now, even after stop processing my hair, I am now learning about the ramifications, the spiritual ramifications of using hair products. Yeah? When you use a lot of hair products, a lot of chemicals, it blocks your connection with divine source. So I think overall, I learned early also that color is a frequency. And when you wear colors, you strengthen certain frequencies in yourself and in your energy field. So now I like to wear bright colors and I wear my colors based on the things that I like and the energy that I wake up feeling. I'll wake up one day and I'll feel, yeah, it's purple today.
Right.
Another day I feel what it's golden yellow today. I need to be bright and uplift my spirit if I'm feeling a little down. And then when you wear bright gold and yellow, everywhere you go, everybody's like, wow, because you are also sharing that vibration with them, you know?
Right.
So I think style and presentation is a function of all those that went before you. The ones that influenced you the most. You're gonna try to speak like them. You're going to try to interact like them. You try to engage with people because you know the people that impacted you the most were the ones who truly engaged with you, who truly listened to you, who truly spoke to you and tried to help you to understand what they were saying. So that's
Mm.
kind of what makes me communicate the way I do, dress the way I do, make the choices that I do. No, it was the people before that raised you that have the greatest influence on you. No, think about how that works to be detrimental in environments where the role models are not the ideal. And when I think of that, I immediately think of certain cultures that they promoted over the years, the hip hop culture, which is really weaponizing our, black people's love of music
Right.
Mm-hmm.
on a particular frequency with words that are not the ideal, right? And we specifically know that that was done back in the early 80s. We know that they replaced the natural drum beats with computer drum beats that they were playing at a certain particular frequency that
Right.
basically interrupted the flow of the energy and kept us locked into the lower chakra
Mm.
behaviors and ways of being. So it's important for the healers who we know as singers and players of instruments because they are
Psychological.
healers. They are healers.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
They have a gift. They came with a gift to be able to share their words and their thoughts through music. And what happened? They get hijacked and placed into the music industry in the US to influence millions of people and lock them into a matrix, basically. Because you see how these big concerts are, right?
You mean like Travis Scott type concerts and Drake type
Yeah,
concerts?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Kendrick type
So
concerts.
it's interesting. It's interesting how image and communication get weaponized.
Right. That was a thing with the Trump election and Snoop and Nelly performing for Trump. It was feeling like it was betrayal on one end, and on the other end, people felt like let them get their money. To me personally, I could see the parallels there. Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. So that's what I would really want everybody to start to open that third eye so they can see what is happening. They can see, we call them sellouts, and they are, but it's because they are so attached to the material wealth that they have come into. But that's what's always gotten, black people out. You know, once they
Right.
break out of poverty and the big companies dangle some carrots of wealth and influence in front of them, they're gone. They're gone,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we have to really start to, you know, help our young people to understand that you see this money and wealth thing, it isn't everything. In fact, it is the road straight to the proverbial hell, right? Because those guys, they couldn't say no.
Mm.
They couldn't say no because they are so entrenched in the system that they're going to lose all the contracts and the endorsements and the material things they have now, and they don't want to lose it because they're drunk on the power and
But
influence that they have. Yeah,
some it's fear. It's fear too. You know, the fear
yeah,
mongering of what happened in the Diddy right now can happen to any artist.
yeah.
Right?
But um,
Mm.
You know,
yeah,
I'm not
so that
saying all artists are involved with that, but just saying. You know, but
yeah,
forgive
but it's a thin line, when we get spoiled by having everything at our fingertips and millions of dollars and thousands of dollars and influence and so on. We get spoiled at the thought of having to leave it behind or have it taken away from us. But you see, that's why it's so important for this kind of podcast where young people get to hear a different perspective from someone or some people that they admire, and then they won't fall into those traps because they are aware of this thing called material attachment. Yeah,
you.
where you
Yeah,
see the money and you're like, yeah, this is nice, I love it, and I can buy any car I want and I can buy any house I want. I don't want to let it go. We saw the California fires, and there was clear and present danger, and people were still there with their hose trying to cool down their house to save it. They're so attached. Right
right.
now, in this world, there are things that are threatening in some cities and communities all over North America. There's a threat of smart cities.
Mm.
And,
I mean,
if you talk to the average person and say, listen, you need to get out, they're looking at you like, what are you talking about? This is where my house is. This is where my job is. I have two cars, a family. I can't leave. Why?
right.
Why can't you leave?
Hmm.
Mm. The attachment.
Because you're attached to material things. You're
Yeah.
attached to the system. This is what's gonna happen, with this new world order and new earth. Two
Right.
parallel realities are going to be evolving. The new world order is going to be composed of those people who cannot detach from the money and the wealth and the big houses and the multiple cars and the
And
the
family.
the spending ability.
And family.
Yeah,
There's some
Mm.
people that
yeah.
ain't gonna abandon family, even if their family wrong. They gotta stay with them and go down with them. But
Well,
they're
that's the
attached to
thing. You're gonna have
stability.
to make some choices. I don't really like to make biblical references because I don't know the Bible well enough, but I know some stories. And in the story with Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot
Hmm.
was told you need to get out of there, and Lot's wife was like, but, and she kept turning back. She did not want to let go of the material wealth, and she was basically suffering from material attachment. And in
Hmm.
looking back, she was ruined. It's the same thing that's going to happen in North America now, and so it is important that our young people start to understand that they have a choice between the new world order and new earth. New earth is going back to nature, eating from the land, eating from trees, taking your herbs, keeping your temple clean, detoxing it when it's required, making sure that you're drinking from clean water sources. And if you have to leave all of this material wealth behind just to get clean water and good food, do it. If it means going to live in Mexico or Central America or going back to Africa or going to a Caribbean island, do it. And
Yeah.
and and, and consider doing it sooner than later because it has begun.
Hmm. You
Mm.
saw
It has begun.
you saw the salute from Mr. Elon Musk, and
It has
there's
begun.
Mhm.
there's groups defending that salute, and there's people who are very silent. We don't see Black Lives Matter jumping up.
If you
And
know, you know, and you should use that as the sign.
see,
Mhm.
Use that as the sign because that's where they're going. They're going back to cleaning it up. They want to get rid of all the extra, darkness, the dark colors and the melanin. They want to get it cleaned up. So why are we staying and fighting them? Go back to where you're, you know, in years to come, I feel like this period is going to be a blessing in disguise
Mm,
where the indigenous peoples have to return to where they belong,
right,
and they're going to be large groups of them focused in certain geographical areas. There are going to be some natural disasters on the planet. And if you follow spirit and you are guided to go to some locations, you might be safe. But if you stay holding on to your big house and your many cars and your proximity to your job, you may just end up going down because you starve, because you live in a food desert. Because you see how they're structuring things now.
right.
The food is here and the people are here.
Hmm.
There's going to be breakdowns and you can't get to the food and the food can't get to you. What's going to happen?
You better know how to survive.
Hmm.
Exactly. And most people don't know how to survive. They don't know how to grow a bean plant. They don't know if they get some lentils and soak it in water for 2 days that it will start sprouting. And if they put a little potting soil on that, it will sprout and you can eat that sprout. And that will give you so much minerals and nutrients that it will sustain you.
You
They
said
will
lentils?
want to go, yeah, lentils, just
Hmm.
any dried legume. If you put it to soak, it will start to germinate and it will sprout.
Nice.
And
Hmm.
that sprout can give you food. They would not know that it would be easy to sprout some chia seeds and eat that rather than going and fighting at a supermarket for food.
Right, right. The
Hmm.
You
seeds coming
understand?
before the food. The seeds coming before the food coming. See, I understand.
Yeah, and
That's
the seeds
crazy.
will sprout, and the sprout is something. What do you think wheatgrass is? Wheatgrass that makes the green drink is actually sprouted seeds, and they grow to about this. They cut it and they blend it up, and they drink that. It's full of nutrients and
Right. Let me show you.
minerals.
Let me show you some. See that?
Oh no, no, I'm not seeing. Tell me what I'm supposed to be looking at.
Oh, it's okay. It's just showing you some plants. It's okay. But
Yes,
go ahead.
yes, yes. So we need to get back to our roots, and this is why your podcast is important because
Yeah.
you can actually start to share survival tips with your
Right.
followers on exactly how you can eat if there's no food available from the supermarket, right? Make sure you always have a stash of every single dried legume possible because you can plant that. Broad beans, black eyed peas, all these peas, they can grow. Even peanuts will grow. If it's green, if it's not been roasted, you can put it in water, it will germinate. You put it in some soil, it will grow. Right? Pumpkin seeds, not the ones with the cover gone, but the one with the cover on it. If you soak it, it's going to germinate and it will sprout, right? We have to know what we need to do. If we have to leave the cities and go out into the country, we should know what we can put into a pot and have grow for us. Ginger will grow if you put it in a pot with soil. Potatoes will grow if you put it into a pot with soil. We have to start thinking about how to grow food. Half of the young people now have no clue
Right.
how food is grown because
Right.
they're so westernized that they
Right.
don't know how to grow food. And that is a terrible thing to have a whole entire population not know how to grow food.
Real food. That should be the first thing they learn.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I feel
But that's what happens when you disconnect from nature. You don't know how it works.
They worry more about credit than food. I know credit's important, but boy,
Yeah,
that food is essential. There's a
Mhm.
difference.
exactly, because what you don't see that what's happening right now when they send home the immigrants. Who's gonna work the farms? There's gonna be food shortages, but
Exactly.
that those food
Mhm.
shortages are not by accident. They're orchestrated. Yeah.
Mhm. And so I have a question pertaining to that, and also just like you said, the especially in our like the younger generation, this attachment to the material and things like that. Um, I know that that is definitely the case, but I do know that in another aspect, certain things like money and things like that, while the love of money, being the root of all evil, money still is a tool that can be used, and in a lot of ways, kind of needs to be used to be able to um, attain
Live.
certain things and get certain things done that we need to get done. So,
Yes. Yeah.
in that aspect, what would you say? What advice would you give to people who
Here's the
are
advice.
getting into business,
Yeah.
trying to get into
Here's the
business, and
advice
still
that I would
having
give.
that, like, yeah.
I feel like money is overrated, and I tried this experiment, but I don't want to share it. But essentially, you are told that the only way that you can be successful is if you have lots of money. You are told that you cannot make an impact unless you have lots of money. You are told that you cannot live well unless you have lots of money. I've already proven all of those things are wrong, right? No, I'm not telling people not to work for money. I'm saying to people, know that this is how you survive in this system, but know that if you choose another way, it is just as viable. In other words, if you guys got up now and said, hey, I'm going to go to Ghana and live, and you just have a chunk of money that you go there with, you would figure it out. You would be entrepreneurial, and entrepreneurial spirit is what will keep you going. You will know, okay, I can do this. I can create a service where all I'm doing is helping other people to
Right.
relocate to Ghana effortlessly. Boom, you're out there.
Exactly.
And you're making money authentically, and it's serving you and it's serving other people. I think if people utilize their entrepreneurial spirit, that's number one. And two, if they have at the core of it that it's not just serving themselves, but it's serving other people, then it's a win win. Yeah?
Hmm.
Even a
Well,
simple thing like teaching people how to grow food using your video tutorial, people are gonna see the value of it. And especially if you know that you're teaching them because you know what is to come, and you want to empower people to be able to feed their family, not with the traditional long, a westernized way of eating, but by the way our forefathers ate and nourished themselves by foraging, by using the herbs, beating them, adding water, drinking that, by boiling some peas or root vegetables, yeah, and getting a
right.
meal. We are getting ourselves sick by using the standard American diet. It's so wrong. It is so wrong. And wherever that diet goes, diseases follow. It's
Right.
happening right now in the continent of Africa, where the people they're importing wheat and they're importing everything from all over the developed countries, and they're getting sick. Before that, they weren't getting sick. They were eating the things from their land. They were eating in the quantities that they're supposed to eat in. They work, and there was a beautiful balance in how they maintained themselves.
Right.
Yeah. So my suggestion, my recommendation is to look at how you can work in the society that we have been born into, but always be looking at ways that you can create value for other people and generate something for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that
So,
that that brings me to sorry, I thought
no,
it
go
was a
ahead.
good tip. I apologize.
Yes,
It just brings me to what we're doing as a global
yes,
diasporan
yes,
education and entertainment
yes,
network.
yes,
Our primary goal is to establish a bridge back to Africa for I and I who need refuge and in critical times, but also preparing them here before going there. They have to be mentally, culturally, linguistically
yes,
prepared, financially,
yes, yes,
emotionally, spiritually, so that they
yes,
can embrace the full light. You know what I'm saying?
yes,
Of the tour. Our
yes.
goal is to create an online, uh, what we would call community center for our
Mm-hmm.
community to come and inter exchange and interconnect. So that
Yes,
network is very important because
it
if
is.
people don't know the network exists, they can't tap in.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So let us bring more to the network, which it starts with you and I. And I want to segue with a quote, and then get a last and final statement from you. This quote,
Yes,
I think, is perfect for synopsis of what's been spoken of today and what we
yes,
can hope to achieve in the near future. The quote is from His Imperial Majesty, and the quote says, in a very small quote, but it says, in the mystic traditions of the different religions, we have a remarkable unity of spirit. Whatever religion they may profess, they are spiritual kinsmen. While the different religions and their historic forms binds us to limited groups and militants against the development of loyalty to the world community, the mystics have already stood for the fellowship of humanity in harmony with the spirit of the mystics of ages gone by. That's from His
that's
Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile
that's
Selassie.
it. That's
That's
it.
why he established the Federation, Ethiopian World Federation, to federate and unify and centralize that power. And now we're creating the world where in which we desire to have. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to segue that and ask you if you had anything you wanted to share before we close for the day, and express to those that may be watching this or may watch this here in the future, because I think
Yes,
there's an underlining message here, which would be summed up as a thesis statement, and this thesis statement will charge awareness by everybody watching. So I'm curious if you could share that before you go.
I completely resonate with what was said, and which is what I said at the very beginning. I'm kind of neutral. I just know what is right, what is wrong, and
Right,
and the fact that like-minded people who vibrate on the same level should be coming together, helping each other, and going not where they're tolerated, but going where they're celebrated, right?
right.
And we are the ones who will celebrate ourselves. We're not trying to hold on to a system that hates us, that wants to
Hmm.
see us
Right.
dead,
Yeah,
if you ask me, right? We have to have enough dignity to know that we 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 were builders of massive empires in the past, and we can do that again. But it starts with our awareness, and it starts with our unity. So we need to unify, and we need to stop looking to others
right.
for leadership and for the way forward. We need to come together and craft the way forward. And you guys are doing it. That is what I want to see. That is what I call entrepreneurial spirit. Doing what you know is important, and it's going to benefit you, and it's going to benefit the collective. Humanity is at a critical junction now where they have to choose between new earth, which is going back to the old ways, the old wisdom, the old traditions, or the new world order, which is going to be the digital manipulation, control, and darkness and destruction because it's
Hurlock.
not sustainable.
Mhm.
So we, the ones who understand, those are balloons bursting, not gunshots.
Yeah, no, you're
We,
good.
the ones who understand, need to be the way showers. And you guys are doing just that. So I completely endorse what you guys are doing. And any way that I can help, I will help. Because we all need to be coming together. That's the problem.
Mhm.
Oh, you guys are small fry. I can't work with you because you don't have any followers and you don't have any influence. This is how people are thinking now.
No, you're
They will not associate with you because you're too small. When they don't remember that they were once small. And it is the small things. The small things are like seeds. You
Mhm.
water them, and they will germinate, sprout, and grow.
Mhm.
Mm.
Jeez.
I.
So
I
that is what we have to be doing.
what a great way to close that last statement there. Let that statement germinate. Seeing, that was a powerful statement right there. But thank
Yes.
you, Empress.
Thank
We really enjoyed you coming. You have a amazing perspective and one where in which more people need to be exposed to, and whatever we can do in return to assist in building the kingdom of God on earth through our unity, our oneness, then we are with as well. Give thanks. So that's expressed from the keepers of the light. We're excited for those that got a chance to bear witness to this occasion today. We also want to make sure that you follow the website, which is in construction, but very soon going to be available for purchase for setting up language classes, for setting up whether it be cultural classes, for setting up medicinal and holistic classes, survival
Yes.
classes, and travel
Yes.
classes. Our
Yes.
website is already
Very good.
working towards making these things an expressway, also to citizenship through the sixth region of the African Union or through the Rastafari ID card, which is also available for those who go to Ethiopia, the heart of the world, and decide they want to live a life in the East or just have dual citizenship. The expressway ID cards that they have is things that people need to know about, be
Yeah.
aware about, because there's more options for them to make decisions about their future and the kingdom they want to build. So give
Yes.
thanks.
Yes.
Thanks for everybody coming today. Anybody that participated, anybody that's gonna see this, please share, like, comment, subscribe, and
yes.
um, I hope that this inspires many out there to go and follow Empress. If you want to share your social media handles before we go, we would love for people to be able to follow you and follow your story as well.
Yes. Yes. I on IG I'm Paula Hurlock, and on IG I'm also Wellness Experience Jamaica, and also on YouTube I am Paula Hurlock Wellness Experience Jamaica. So those are the three places that I can be found. And I really, really want to commend you, gentlemen, on doing the right thing at the right time because I do believe that what you guys are doing is divinely timed.
Mm.
You're in the right moment to do what you're doing, and what you are doing is going to benefit many, many hundreds and thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of melanated people, especially in the US. So keep on doing the work you're doing. It is needed, it is vital, and
Hmm.
I am affirming and declaring right now that the seed that we are planting today is going to become a massive, massive tree that is going to provide food, fruit, and shade and shelter for millions of people. So keep on doing what you're doing.
Yes. That
I
was the oxygen right there. Yes, thanks. God bless. We
yes,
appreciate the eye. We appreciate love you coming. We appreciate you taking the time out for us and treating us like human beings. We hope that this interview has impacted you as well in a positive
Yes.
way. And we look
Yes.
forward to possibly doing another here in the future. We'll see. We'll definitely reach out to your people and we'll be active supporting what you have going on. So y'all stay tuned for that. That's a wrap. This is Keepers of the Light. We are backed by the Global Diaspora Education and Entertainment Network, LLC. We are looking for people who want to work in this divine stratagem and see, see see people be protected in the times where protection is needed most. So give thanks. God bless.
good thanks.
Rastafari. All right, all right, all right,
I
Rastafari. All right, you can cut the tape.